In this case study, we will look at Wells Fargo and the recent account scandal that took place between 2008 to 2015. We will analyze how an industry culture perpetuated by management impacted the employees, working to push them towards desperation and rationalization of their own unethical behavior. At Wells Fargo between 2011 and 2015, company employees opened more than 1.5 million bank accounts and applied for over 565,000 credit cards in customers' names that may have not been authorized. Management placed the pressure on the team leads and branch employees to reach new account sales goals. Many former employees reported that company sales goals were impossible to meet, and incentives for compensation and ongoing employment encouraged gaming the system. Wells Fargo pressured employees to cross-sell, which means to offer customers with one type of product, such as a checking account or savings account, to buy other types of products, such as credit cards and loans. One former employee described it as a grindhouse, with coworkers breaking under pressure. Another former employee reported, "If you do not meet your solutions, then you're not a team player. If you're bringing down the team, then you'll be fired, and it'll be on your permanent record." In 2014, Wells Fargo attempted to curb fraudulent activity with an ethics workshop that warned employees not to create fake accounts in customers' names. Wells Fargo also modified its compensation structure to place less emphasis on sales goals, but in the following years, these efforts were not enough. The company continued to fire employees over fraudulent accounts. Wells Fargo spokesperson Mary Ashit stated, "The steps we have been taking have been effective, and we are continuing to do more." Their own analysis showed a decline in fake accounts by 2015, but many were still being created. One former employee described his brief time at Wells Fargo as the lowest point of my life. He reported that this made him sick to his stomach, but it was a tough economy, and he was worried that if he lost his job, he would be in a tough financial situation. Deceptive practices such as these were widespread across the company, and many former employees reported that their managers knew about them. A lawyer working on behalf of former employees said that the better that they did in sales, the more they advanced, and an entire generation of managers thrived in a culture and got rewarded for it, and they're now in positions of power. One former employee says she could not meet sales goals in any ethical way and called the Wells Fargo ethics hotline. She was eventually fired. In 2016, Wells Fargo was fined a combined $185 million for fraudulent activity, and the CEO at the time resigned. Between 2011 and 2016, approximately 5,300 employees were fired for fraudulent sales practices, and sales quotas were eliminated effective January 1st, 2017. Many workers say still to this day they are pressured to cross-sell and open up accounts that customers do not need. The bank accounts were only the most recent infraction. Leading up to the financial crisis, Wells Fargo peddled subprime mortgages and targeted minority neighborhoods with toxic loans. The bank created an emerging market unit that went after minority businesses, and investigations revealed that the loan officers used racial epithets to describe the minority customers. These infractions and the reports of the toxic culture and the most recent creation of fake accounts continue to undermine the company's rebranding of their goals. Let's take a look at how Wells Fargo violated the principles that define ethics. There were a myriad of unethical actions that Wells Fargo took during the years of 2011 to 2015. These actions can be summarized by these three principles that define ethics: honesty and integrity, fairness, and respect and caring for others. Wells Fargo violated these three principles by misguiding customers into signing up for products that they did not need. They coerced their employees to manipulate their customers to sign up for credit cards by tricking them into thinking that they were changing their address. This violates the principle of honesty and integrity. Wells Fargo also targeted minority customers to sell them subprime products, which violated the principle of fairness. And overall, Wells Fargo violated the principle of respect and caring for others by mistreating its customers and its employees. Their employees entrusted the organization and management with their livelihood, and the organization did not show their employees the respect that they had worked hard and gave to the organization. Now let's take a look at how an insurance company profited from the unethical behavior of Wells Fargo. National General was named in a class action lawsuit filed against Wells Fargo for allegedly profiting $80 million from collateral protection insurance policies that drivers did not need and they did not know that they were paying for. A policyholder from Alabama who was charged with the collateral protection insurance policy had her finances damaged by the additional cost. Her claims in a Manhattan federal court stated, despite having appropriate insurance of her own, Wells Fargo forced the collateral protection insurance onto her, ratcheted up her monthly payments, charged her late fees, and issued negative credit events to the credit bureaus. Despite not being the institution that was directly involved, National General Insurance got caught up in the unethical industry culture that Wells Fargo had perpetuated.